Welcome to CBS Sports HQ Spotlight. I'm Chris Hassel. About a third of the way through the NFL season, and what a wild start it has been. We're going to jump into Pete Prisco's power rankings, and the teams that started 1, 2, 3 are in his third tier this week. That would be the Eagles, the Bills, the Chiefs. There you see them in that second column, 10, 11, 12. It's a brand new team at the top for the second straight week. This time, it is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they would be the 1 seed in the NFC. The Colts would be the 1 seed in the AFC. They're down at number 4 behind the Pittsburgh Steelers. You see how we break things up into tiers with the Bucs, the new number 1. And then how about the Lions? Just 1 week there at number 1. They lose, so they fall back into the second tier. And there's that third tier with the Patriots now ahead of the Bills, Chiefs, and Eagles. Let's get into it. We've got Pete Prisco. We have Leger Douzable. And Pete, second straight week, you have a new team at the top. Can you love anything more right now than you love Baker Mayfield? Seriously. Man, you loved him already going into the season, and watching what he's doing with a banged-up team, it has to fill your heart with joy.
Well, first off, love is a little strong for that.
You don't love Baker Mayfield?
I love watching
He loves
him play.
Jordan Love, though.
No. I love watching him play. Look, what he's doing is absolutely incredible. Yeah. When you look at what he has not had, and all we did the other day, we heard about who San Francisco didn't have. What about what he didn't have? You know, they said 5th, 6th, and 7th, 4th, 5th, and 6th receiver. No, it was 5, 6, and 7.
Yeah.
That's who he was playing with in the second half.
Yeah.
The offensive line, he hadn't had them together the entire season. And they still won't because the right guard's out for the year. So I think Bucky Irvin won there. What he's doing is incredible with this offense. And it's scary to think how good they can be when they get guys back. Because they're coming back. Mike Evans will be back. Yep. He might be back this week. Godwin's coming back. Yep. McMillan will be back at some point. These guys are going to be back. Ibuka's going to be back. And then the offensive line, you're going to get Gedeke back at right tackle, which will be enormous for them. So it's incredible. He's the MVP right now, and I think they are the team that deserves to be in the 1 spot.
As Pete has been saying for the last couple of weeks, we still haven't seen the best Tampa Bay Bucs team because of all the injuries he alluded to. And we didn't even talk on the defensive side. Zion McCollum, their starting corner, was out, right? Which means Paris had to go to the outside. They've moved Tyke Smith from slot to safety, and I actually think he's kind of stabilized that next to Winfield in the back end. This team comes at you at waves on defense. Shout out to Todd Bowles, because that was a masterful game plan versus Mac Jones and Kyle Shanahan, because Mac Jones had been carving everybody up. But so many timely blitzes, so many good disguises in cover 2, that first interception, quarterback, receiver now on the same page. That's because the corner made it cloudy for both of those guys. And that's all a part of coaching and work throughout and preparation throughout the week. But to Pete's point, what Baker Mayfield is doing is astronomical right now. To go into a game, right, with your your 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th receiver, and then go down to your 5th, 6th, 7th receiver. Cameron Johnson, like a guy that got called up from practice squad, being effective in the game. Like, it doesn't matter who Baker plays with. He just elevates the entire team, not only on the offensive side, but the defensive side. I mean, that 3rd and 14 scramble for first down.
That's an MVP play.
Literally, like, that's elevating your team and saying, you know what, I'm going to make a play for us to keep us on the field for a first down. Baker Mayfield's play out of his mind.
And one other thing, Jason Light, the general manager, deserves a ton of credit.
Yeah.
When you look at, when he first got there, he didn't have a great draft. And he kind of amended.
Are you still trying to use that pen?
That pen is dangerous.
It's fallen off the desk 4 times in the last 3 minutes.
When he first got there, he wasn't great at drafting.
Yeah.
He'll be the first to admit it. He amended the way he did it. And now, the reason you're able to put in Tez Johnson, remember, they drafted Ibuka, and everybody said, why are you drafting a wide receiver? Well, he drafted him, then he came back and he got Tez Johnson,
Yep.
and now he goes in and makes a play like that. Kudos to Jason Light for what he's done with that roster.
And a huge game again this week. They'll play the team that was number 1 last week, the Detroit Lions. So the last 2 teams at number 1 in Pete Prisco's power rankings facing off this weekend. Let's go to number 2, the Packers. All the way back up to number 2.
A lot of teams had bad weeks, Chris. A lot of teams had
They
bad
still
weeks.
should not be 2, though, Pete.
Who should be number 2?
The Colts. What do you mean? They're the number 1 seed in the AFC, and they've been dominating teams. Now, again, they had a close win versus the Arizona Cardinals. But when you look at it, like, with a
backup quarterback.
Who actually made the offense look better.
With a backup quarterback.
Who made the offense look better, if we're being honest. Who made the offense look a lot better. When you look at the Packers, literally besides week 1, playing the Detroit Lions. Like, who have they played?
He loves love.
He always says that, like, who have they played? Who have the Packers played? And they played 2 contending teams, right? The Rams and the Broncos. And they competed in 1-1, but they competed in both.
And they played a lot of nobodies.
And they didn't lose to the Browns, though. I can tell you that. They didn't lose to the. And I'm going to go to a rule that you always say. I want to see them away from home. Because right now, what are they? 1-1, 1 tie, and 1 loss on the road. They've been comfortable at home. Look at the schedule right there, Pete. Who is this team on the road, right? They got the Lions and Commanders at home, where they're comfortable, lost to the Browns, and came away half a second from losing away to the Cowboys on the road.
By the way, who have they beat? Those 2 teams are pretty good football teams.
Okay, but I'm just saying, they've struggled. You always talk about who they played on the road.
Who the Colts played on the road?
What do you mean? They played the Rams.
And lost. And who else have they played on the road? The Titans. And who else have they played? The Dolphins, who stink. Who else have they played? The Raiders,
I'm just telling you. The Colts' schedule has been harder than the Packers, and the Packers have had their toughest games at home.
Yeah, and the Colts have played nobody.
Colts should be.
It does seem a little high to have the Packers at 2.
3-1-1.
Yeah, they just have.
If the Colts and Packers played, who would you pick?
It depends on where it's at.
Exactly.
Neutral field.
Neutral field.
I'm taking the Colts.
That's the Super Bowl preview right there.
Yeah.
Packers and Colts.
The Colts right
we'll see.
Well, you have a loser.
Let's go down. Let's go down to number 9, New England Patriots. And Pete, they've got the Titans this week, the Browns the next week. Are they starting to look like they're going to push the Bills in this division?
Yep. And I thought it would be a year from now when they did it. I thought they'd be pesky and a pain in the butt for a lot of teams, but they are significantly better than I thought they would be.
Yeah.
And Drake May has taken the step. And when you have a coach and a quarterback, and they have a coach, Mike Vrabel, who knows how to coach, and they now have a quarterback. And when you get those 2 together, you're going to win a lot of games. And he's playing at a really high level the last couple weeks, taking care of the football, throwing the ball down the field. He made some throws against the Saints that you looked and you went, wow, wow, wow.
Half of them got called back.
One of them was called back. The one was really called back. The one on the Diggs was the amazing throw. But I love what I've seen from this team. They play hard, they play tough, they play physical, and they're going to be a tough team to beat once they really get going in the second half of the season.
I'm like Pete. I thought they'd be a year away from now as far as them making a real push for the Buffalo Bills. Now the Bills have struggled the last couple weeks. The Patriots are playing really well. And I talked to Pete about this last week. I was like, just looking at the schedule, the Patriots could make a real run here, and then the Bills could be looking up at them when it comes to the schedule. But that's what happens when you finish in 4th place. You get a 4th place schedule, and that's what the Patriots have. But I also want to give them kudos. You talked about it. Drake May is playing at an MVP caliber right now, right? Everybody keeps saying they need to trade for a receiver. Do they really?
No.
The way he's elevated Kayshon Boutte, Stephon Diggs is starting to look like the guy. Pop Douglas has played really well. They're getting contributions from Hunter Henry as well. If they stop turning the football over, this team literally probably only has 1 loss. They should have beat the Steelers. They had 5 turnovers in that game and still only lost that game by 1 score. So the way that Mike Vrabel has changed the mentality of that team, and Christian Gonzalez, having him back was major for them. They probably have the best trio at corner right now. When you look at Marcus Jones and Carlton Davis and Christian Gonzalez, they can match up with any receiver group in all the football. But Drake May, Pete talked about it, he is taking that second-year step.
Speaking of steps, the Buffalo Bills have taken a step back, and they had that NFL record streak of games where they didn't lose the turnover battle. Now all of a sudden, Josh Allen's turning the ball over again, Pete, and they've dropped back-to-back games and have fallen all the way down to 10th in your power ranking.
I'm going to give you 2 problems with this team right now. They're not good on defense, and they don't stretch the field at all. They don't throw the ball down the field. You know, he hit the 1 shot to Palmer to start the game Monday night, and then he got hurt, and that all went away. They don't scare anybody. And the Falcons played them that way. They said, you're not going to beat us down the field. They didn't. And I think when you play that way, everything is condensed. And when it's condensed, you have problems. And that's when those turnovers start happening. So, yeah, they have issues. But I think, we can talk about offense all you want. I think the biggest issue is on defense right now. They do have a lot of guys hurt. They need to get Tre'Davious White off the field, let's be honest. I mean, when Hairston comes back, he'll be the guy starting at that spot. And he can run a little bit. It gives him some juice. They're not a fast team right now, and that's a concern. When you play an offense that doesn't feature a lot of fast guys and you play a defense that doesn't feature a lot of fast guys, you're going to have problems.
So there's a lot to decipher with the Buffalo Bills, because I remember vividly last year everybody praising Josh because he elevated the players that were on the roster. And when you look at the pass catchers, they've actually added to it, right? They still had everybody come back, and I know Dalton Kincaid didn't play, but we talked about this last year. He wasn't a factor anyway, right? Josh Palmer comes in, he gets hurt. They bring in Elijah Moore. So I find it interesting that people are, quote unquote, moving the goalposts for Josh Allen right now. I'm going to say that.
Is Pete moving the goalposts?
He hates Josh
People
Allen.
says I hate Josh Allen. Well, this is my thing is, you can't.
What are you moving the goalposts on?
You can't heap praise on a guy for elevating everybody on the roster when the roster is the exact same as it was last year, and now say that they don't have guys that can separate.
Did they protect them well last night? They did a nice job of protection.
They sent pressure. You have to know where to go with the football in man coverage.
They didn't. Guys weren't open. And
but you know what the biggest issue, and I'm not even blaming all Josh for this. The biggest issue, and me and Pete talked about this offseason when we were talking about James Cook, and I said they need to be careful how they handle this because I don't think people realize what he means to that offense as far as the zone scheme with that offensive line. For the life of me, I don't understand. You come out of halftime and have an emphatic running the ball drive, score a touchdown. You get it to 3rd and 1 and have an opportunity to get a first down, and you run a speed sweep to a receiver.
I didn't get that one either.
But James Cook was averaging more than 5 yards a carry on that drive.
That was dumb.
To me, you always say that you like it when Josh is playing loose. I don't think that's just the best Josh. The MVP Josh we saw last year was more balanced, and it was because of what they did with James Cook. They need to lean on him. When he hasn't had 100 yards, they've had 2 losses. The other games, he had over 100 yards rushing. They need to lean on that offensive line.
You're usually ahead when you're getting 100 yards rushing. They were behind in that.
But you got to think they were down by 7.
Yeah,
so why would you speed sweep it?
I didn't. I was just saying.
Believe
me, I don't agree with
that.
But
so even that, they stopped the Falcons. You could still run the ball. They just became pass happy, and then Josh started reeling and tried to force the ball down the field. And they got lucky because right before half, if Drake London doesn't get caught at the half-yard line, they go down by 14.
And then the game's over.
Yeah, 100%.
Right.
So to me,
like
I'm not blaming Josh again. Like the pass catchers are, but I think Joe Brady needs to have a come into Jesus moment and realize what got you where you were last year was leaning on that run game with James Cook. And then if Josh needs to be Superman, allow him to be Superman.
Like he was against the Ravens.
Correct. Like well, that was by design. They were down by 30 in that game.
And that's when he plays at his best. I believe that 100%. To open the game, they hit the shot down the field like, okay, this is going to be one of the games where he goes. And then they didn't handle pressure at all up front. Yeah. And this is an offensive line, by the way. It's one of the best in the league.
It is.
They did not play like that last night. And defensively, when you take the field every week knowing that defense is a problem, like it is, and it has been, you're going to have to put more points on the board.
I think we also have to give some love to Jeff Albrecht. When you look at Josh Allen's career, the teams he's struggled with have come from the Robert Saleh tree, right? When he's played the Jets, he struggled at MetLife. Jeff Albrecht was the defensive coordinator. He struggled versus Jeff Albrecht last night from the Atlanta Falcons. Let's not forget the Houston Texans, DeMeco Ryans. That's where he struggled as well. So it's something about that scheme. It gives Josh and that offense issues.
But they didn't even really play that. They played a lot of man.
But that's the thing. That's the evolution of that defense. It's not just cover 3 anymore. They blitz. They heat you up on 3rd down.
After him last night. They didn't handle the pressure.
Another top team that has lost back-to-back games is our biggest tumbler of the week. It's not the Bills. It's the Philadelphia Eagles. Man. And, Pete, they've been outscored 52-17 in their last 5 quarters.
I have no idea what I'm watching with that team right now. I really don't. I have no earthly idea. I mean, they're a shell themselves. You look at their offense. What are they? And when they don't power the football and run the football, is Jalen Hurts good enough throwing the football? I don't know if he is right now, the way they're constructed. Everything they do has to be predicated on running the football, and they're not doing it well enough. The line isn't good enough. And I'm not just talking about guys who've been in and out of the lineup. But, Mailata hasn't played as well as he's been playing over the course of his career. And so add it all up, you have problems there, and defensively they have issues as well. This is not a good football team right now, and they have to do some real soul-searching. They had 10 days to stew between that loss and their next game against the Vikings. They need some real soul-searching.
Pete, they just look old and run down on that short week versus the Giants on Thursday, and the youth of the Giants clearly gave them an advantage in that game. They were getting pushed around in the run game. I mean, old Scat Pack was having his way with them, with the New York Giants. But the other issue, and it was the issue going into the season, that third cornerback position, it's been like a Farrago round ride where multiple people have been in there, right? Whether it's been Ringo, whether it's been Bennett, right? Whether it's been Adoree Jackson. And no matter what, offensive coordinators are hunting up that position. And they have a real issue. Now, they traded for Jacorian Bennett, and I thought he would solidify that spot. He really hasn't. There's only so much moving around you can do with Cooper DeJean. Like, one of those corners are going to have to step up because they are getting picked on week in and week out. And it's going to continue to be an issue because they don't have the pass rush right now, right? Jalen Carter was out in that game. Darius Smith is retired.
Here's the other part of the problem. Yeah. They allowed guys to leave thinking that the young guys would come in and fix it, and they haven't. You know, usually that's what you do. Jar on the shelf, put him in, and he goes and plays. Well, it hasn't worked that way. Yeah. And when you do that, when you make the young guys the starters, then you have depth issues.
Correct.
And that's what the Eagles are facing right now. They're not good on the defensive line right now either, and that was their calling card last year.
It's 3 weeks to the trade deadline. Do they need to make a move?
I mean, the thing is, who's going to get rid of a number 2 corner on their team? That's the issue. Like, can they do that? And then a defensive end, right? There's been, speculation. Trey Henderson, could he be a name that's out there, right? Bradley Chubb, could he be a name? Like, I think Howie Roseman will get aggressive. He brought Darius Smith in, and he gave him a spark in the beginning, but now he's retired. So, like, Nolan Smith is hurt. Like you talked about, Pete, the depth has been really hit for the Eagles up front on the defensive line.
All right, so very interesting to see these teams that were just a couple weeks ago at the top of Pete's power rankings.
Crazy season, man. That's all you get.
Is anybody good, Pete?
Nobody's any good. Nobody is any good.
It's the middle tiers. I don't know, Jim. The 49ers are in that bucket now after Mac Jones lost for the first time as a starter. The Commanders also in that bucket. And then the Jeff Fisher mid-tier. A couple of teams that have put some wins together, like the Texans, who are going for their 3rd straight win this week, as are the Panthers. So let's jump into it with number 18 in the I Don't Know Jim tier. The Atlanta Falcons. And, Pete, you talk a lot about, but who have you beaten? Falcons have some decent wins they're racking up here. The Commanders and the Bills back-to-back. This seems a little low.
They also have the 30-0 loss to the Carolina Panthers.
How long you gonna hold that against them?
Well, I mean, you got to look at it from that standpoint. That's a bad loss. It's an ugly loss. And I like what I'm seeing from this team, to be honest with you. I love the way they're pressuring the quarterback. And remember, they addressed that. That was the whole idea of the draft, is to go get pressure guys. And they drafted Walker, and he's done some good stuff. They came back in and traded the draft away to get Pierce, and they're attacking the quarterback. And we saw that Monday night. That's the good part of it. And I think offensively, they're still not throwing the ball quite the way he's looked better than he has been, but I think there's more there. Yeah. And I think you're going to see more. But man, Robinson, he is special.
Goodness gracious.
My gosh, get him in space. What is he, the first guy since Thurman Thomas to have 450 rushing yards and 300 receiving yards in the first 5 games of the season? He is truly a special running back.
Yeah, I think this is a team, and I've been telling Pete and our producer Jack, who's a big Bucs fan, that this is the team the Bucs have to watch out for. Because if Michael Penix continues to play with this type of confidence, that first half, Pete, in zone coverage, he was shredding the Bills. Like, he just has a real rapport with Drake London on the outside and knows where to go with the ball. And this guy right here is just ridiculous. Like, 238 scrimmage yards versus the Bills. He single-handedly put the team on his back at times in that game. You talked about it, Pete. If you get it to him in space, and that's the thing that I really love that Zach Robinson is doing with him, they're putting him out at receiver, right? They're putting him in the backfield. 2 back sets with him and Tyler Algier, and they're using the speed sweep with one of the guys being the lead blocker. Like, I love how he's mixing up personnel groups to get Bijan Robinson the ball in space. He is one of the most, if not the most electrifying player in the NFL right now. And again, if Penix continues to play like this, this is a team that is going to be working their way towards the playoffs.
I don't know if he gets the ball enough, to be honest.
Really?
I think there's more opportunities for him to get the ball even more.
Wow, Pete, you're trying to end his career by age 20.
No, he feels about backs.
No,
you're running
another one. But I'm serious. I think you should get the ball more.
He's incredibly dynamic. And wear those uniforms more often, please.
Yeah, those are the old
those blacks is clean.
Why they don't wear those every game?
By the way, you were laughing because I was pointing to Art Malone.
Is that what that was?
Art Malone
Carl Malone's dad?
No, he was a Sun Devil way back in the day.
Oh, okay. All right, let's go to, look, every team at 500 or better is in your top 20, except for Bryce Young's team, the Carolina Panthers. They're 3-3. They've won back-to-back games at number 21, Pete.
Well, look, they play better football, but they ran for over 200 yards the last 2 weeks against the 2 of the worst run defenses I've ever seen in my entire life, the Cowboys and the Dolphins. And I think, I'm not kidding, if you lined up with your helmet right now,
I probably would have had about 80 yards on Sunday.
I can see both of them, right?
Yeah, I probably
Those
would.
holes
That
have been
offensive line is blocked
cavernous,
well.
and they're blocking really well. Look,
Yeah.
Bryce Young hasn't been forced to win the game or lose the game. They're winning it by running the football, and I think they need to stick to that. He's been okay. He's not been great. He's been okay. He hasn't hurt them.
Yeah.
Threw an interception, then comes back and throws a nice touchdown.
That was on Tet, though.
But
Dropped
the
the
bottom
ball.
line is, I think as long as they can continue to run the ball and be physical, that's their identity. And Rico Dowdle's become a big-time runner in that offense.
Like, we were talking about Bijan. We need to be talking about old Rico. He told the Cowboys to buckle up. They were not ready for what he was about to bring.
They're not ready to stop
for anybody.
back. Come on.
But the interesting thing is, and Pete, you know this, I said that this Panthers team would be a tough out. I didn't say they would go to the playoffs, but I felt like for the first time in 3 years, because I've been to their training camp 3 consecutive years, I was like, that's what a team looks like that's probably going to make it tough for other teams. Like, they have the subsequent talent now to be competitive week in and week out. And we've seen what Rico Dowdle has done. Chuba Hubbard hasn't even come back from injury. So they have one of the better, 1-2 punches in all the NFL. And I know you said Bryce hasn't done much, but I love how he's processed, right? They've been able to run the ball at will, but times they need him to make plays, he's made it. I just saw a stat that in that game versus the Cowboys when they were down, I believe he was 10 of 13 with 3 passing touchdowns, and I think he threw for 125 yards. So, like, clutch when they're behind in games. And even like that touchdown pass at Tet McMillan was really great play design by Dave Canales, the way he's able to set up and get guys open. But you see it right there. Rico Dowdle's just played like a man possessed the last couple weeks. But the biggest improvement that I've seen in this team, they were abysmal stopping the run last year. They were nails against the Dallas Cowboys. And Javonte Williams, I think, was a top 5 rusher coming into that game. What Derek Brown has been able to do, Bobby Brown, like those dudes up front, and this is what I mean by the talent has gotten so much better, like, they have the Jets this week, and then they have the Bills, and they've been world beaters at home. The Bills' woes in stopping the run, like, this is a team that they better bring their hard hats.
Bills are going to Carolina?
Yeah, they're going to Carolina after the bye.
They're perfect at home, 3-0.
Yeah.
They're physical, man.
I was going to say, you better bring your hard hat when you play them.
No question.
Yeah, we were kind of giving Leger some guff from that the training camp report that he had, the way they started the season. But that seemed like a sea change kind of win.
Cowboys and Dolphins the last 2 weeks.
But
They beat the Falcons too, 30-0, like you said.
Seemed like a big win for Carolina last week. All right, so that's the number 21 ranked team. We're going to go to the bottom. To the basement we go, the bottom of Pete Prisco's power rankings. Ooh. There's down bad, and then there's a dumpster fire. Hey, good news, Leger. The Jets aren't the only team in the in their own last tier like they were last year.
We got neighbors now.
They were in their own New York Jets tier.
Man.
We got neighbors now.
We're going to hit a couple of these teams in that dumpster fire tier. We're going to save you Jets talk because the Jets did cover the spread. So
Jets should have won the game.
We've got to start with the Tennessee Titans, who have fired Brian Callahan. Now he was offensive-minded, so a lot of times you fire an offensive-minded coach, you go the other way. But for Cam Ward, number 1 overall pick, Pete, what do you think they should do?
Well, Mike McCoy is going to be the interim coach, and Mike McCoy's been around the league for a long time. He's worked with a lot of quarterbacks, so it makes sense. And they say they're going to give him a chance to be the head coach. So we'll see. I don't usually believe that when they say that, but it's nice lip service to hear it. He wasn't – look, he went to the playoffs in his first year with the Chargers, and then he had some failure there, and they got rid of him. But it makes sense from an offensive standpoint to make him the head coach so you can work with the quarterback. The quarterback's not playing well at all. And if you had to grade him being the number 1 overall pick right now, it would be an F. I don't think you could give him any other grade. He hasn't played well. There's not a lot around him. I'm going to be critical of the stuff around him. It's just not very good. The line, they spent money at the left tackle this year. They brought in the right guard. They're not much better, if at all. And then the receivers are doing nothing. And, so it's not helping him, but he hasn't played very well either. So I think getting an offensive coach in there makes sense to work with the young quarterback.
Without a doubt, and I love that they made it a senior assistant and a guy that has head coaching experience, because so many times we see, a coach gets fired and they elevate a coordinator or defense, and then we see that side of the ball kind of be lackluster because there's too much on the plate of the coordinator still calling the play. So I love that they went with Mike McCoy instead of maybe elevating one of the coordinators. The interesting thing, Bill Callahan's going to leave as well, so Steve Fuchs, the assistant offensive line coach, he'll be elevated to the main offensive line coach. And if you're a defensive member on this team, you have to be scratching your head, right? We heard what their best player, Jeff Simmons, came out and said. After a win, I can't fathom this. And Jack, can you bring me up? I can't fathom this. After a win versus Arizona, which you had no business being in that game. To come out and for your best player to say, we did not have a good week of practice, it baffles me. Because you would think, Pete, that would give everybody some energy. That would be a little spark, right? We just had a win. You know, it was a miraculous come-from-behind victory where a lot of things had to go our way. And for him to come out and say this, and he can say this because he's been playing out of his mind up front, and Draymond Jones has played well up front. For him to come and say that, I think that was probably the final nail in the coffin for Brian Callahan. When your number one player comes out and says, to be honest with you guys, we didn't have a good week of practice. I can't fathom that after having a miraculous win the week before versus the Arizona Cardinals.
I'd like to respond. Oh, there it is. There's my camera. Will you bring me up, please?
I like what you did there.
He's a director now.
There you go, Pete. There you go. It's all you.
There's a single Pete. Go ahead.
I was kidding, by the way. I was kidding. I was making fun of him.
All right, from a team that became the first to fire a head coach this season to a team that might become the next to fire a head coach this season, it's the Miami Dolphins at 31, Pete. Is this the last week potentially for Mike McDaniel?
Again, when you make these changes, what are you trying to accomplish? You know, I could see the change in Tennessee when you have players questioning practice.
Correct.
You don't have that. You have them questioning each other in Miami.
Exactly.
And, you know, Tua calling out his teammates without naming them is terrible, by the way, because he just indicted everybody on the team. So we have no idea who he's talking. Who are you talking about?
You think he should have named names?
Put a name on it.
Names.
Put a name on it.
If you're, because what did he do? He just threw a blanket over the entire team and said, look, these guys are late. Well, who are they? Well, everybody. So the whole team's late. And first off, it's a players-only meeting. You know, those aren't mandatory.
No, they are.
You should be there, but they're not mandatory.
Well, and he did it after throwing 3 interceptions, too.
Yeah,
two of those weren't on him. Only one
of those was on him.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, the interception number is a little misleading. But look, when the leader of the whole team, the head coach, allows guys to get away with stuff for years when he's been there, then when a player calls a players-only meeting, I don't have to go be on time for anything with the head coach. He finds me and I still don't show up. Then why the hell am I going to the players-only meeting and being on time? So it trickles down. It's the culture is terrible. They need a change. But if you make a change now, what does it accomplish? What are you going to do? Make Anthony Weaver the head coach? His defense is the worst thing I've ever seen. You make him the head coach? I mean, it's just not a good situation right now.
Well, this is my question mark, Pete, because you brought up a lot to decipher. Like, supposedly, I thought they got rid of guys that were having those issues when it comes to the culture. Jalen Ramsey, right?
Tyreek's not playing.
Exactly. So it's just like, so who are these players that are, quote unquote, not showing up to the player-only meeting? I know you said they're not mandatory, but if your captain with the C on his chest says we have a players-only meeting, everybody should show up. And if they don't, that's an indictment on your leadership skills because they're not respecting you enough to show up and get this thing right and get it turned around. So to me, if you're the leader of this team and you're the quarterback and guys aren't showing up or they're late, that's an indictment on your leadership skills. That's not a Mike McDaniel problem. That's your leadership. You're supposed to be able to get in guys' face. If you are putting in the subsequent work and they see it week in and week out, they should be able to follow you. If they're not coming to meetings, that's an indictment on your leadership.
Well, it also, do you ever come away from watching Tua in a huddle or on the field or anywhere and think there's fire in that belly?
I feel like it's progressed throughout the years because I've been able
maybe a little bit more.
I've talked to him more and more over the years.
He's not Baker Mayfield. He's not Tom Brady.
That's not
he's not
he is.
Aaron Rodgers. He's not that guy. If they call player-only meetings, I bet the guys show up on time. So that you're right. It's some of him, but it also is the culture of the whole team. Mike McDaniel let those guys run wild. Give me a break. At the end of last year, when you come out and you say, I find them and they're still late. What am I supposed to do? Well, you got to do something. Kick them off the team.
They got rid of most of those guys, though.
Make them sit down. Well, you can't, when you start one way, you can't go the other way. When the substitute teacher's in, people are throwing erasers at that substitute.
Oh, I bet you had a field day with your substitute teacher.
Spitballs, exactly.
Yeah.
Spitballs.
Oh, yeah. That was good, too.
Pete Prisco's Power Rankings at CBSSports.com. Full list, full explanation, and full article really focusing on those quarterbacks like Baker Mayfield, like Daniel Jones, like Sam Darnold that have gotten second chances and are really
that might be this outfit
coming together.
On here.
You wearing the same outfit there?
Maybe.
You're right, it is. Maybe. It is the same outfit.
Not the same jacket.
Game day recap on HQ Sundays at 8:20 Eastern Time, recapping everything that they all saw earlier in the day.